those who shape the things around them with their goodness. And in the area where they move, people become better than before because of their good influences. There are people who move in such areas where they are influenced by the evil atmosphere or the people they make friends with. These people gradually drift away from righteousness to evil practices. So when we talk of materialism, it is the latter whom we have in mind. The people who in their daily contact with matter, which must be a contact which must prevail in the case of everyone who is living. It's impossible for a man to be living as yet and yet to break away entirely from his contact with the matter. The prophets of Allah have that contact. When they are married and when they are not married, when they eat, they feel hungry, they walk in the streets. It's impossible for the living to break his ties with the material world around. But the way you go about it, this is the question. Hazrat Maulana Rum has spoken of this in one of his poems and describes this process as a contact between the boat and the water. What he has said, I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but what the meaning of what he said is simply this, that you can't conceive of a boat without water. Anything lying uselessly on ground cannot be called a boat unless you have that mental, at least mental association of that thing with water. So a boat must have a counterpart, that is water. As long as the boat remains above water, this is a good contact. As long as it remains submerged, it is no longer a boat. So this is the state of material life here on earth. According to Maulana Rum, who was one of the greatest Sufis in Islam, he says that you can't do away with your contact with the matter anyway, or you will not be a human. So keep that contact, but be above it. You rule the world around with the spiritual teachings you receive from Allah, and be the master of the world. Don't permit yourself to be mastered by matter. So spirituality, as the questioner asks, is bound to develop remaining within material atmosphere and material contexts, not otherwise. Right?
Thank you. Hazur, next question is from Mrs. Jal Blenkinsop. She is from 45 Melrose Road here in Southfield.
Right.
Mrs. Blenkinsop.
Our next door neighbor.
Correct.
Right?
And that is the subject
I'm
of
glad
my
that you
question.
decided to come here. Please.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness.
Good afternoon.
Just before your arrival, we heard the 10 conditions of initiation into the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, and I noticed there was no particular reference to how you are asked to treat your neighbours. What is the teaching of Islam regarding consideration of neighbours?
Right. Please sit down. According to Islam, first of all, the word neighbor has to be defined. Who's your neighbor? Is he the next person who lives next door to you? Or is the concept of neighborhood is wider in Islam? On this issue, I have spoken with reference not only to the Quran, but also with reference to the interpretations made by the Holy Prophet of Islam himself. According to these, when read together, the concept of neighborhood is much wider in Islam than ordinarily it is understood. Some Muslim scholars have gone into the mileage as well, which I of course don't agree with. It's not that mechanical as they think. But some reading from reading the message of some ahadith, some tradition of the Holy Prophet, has described the neighborhood to be 34 kilometers or thereabouts. But the neighborhood in Islam is divided into some categories. Number one, those neighbors who are the next of kin as well. According to the Quran, they should be preferred in the sense that you should be more mindful of their requirements than just ordinary neighbors. As far as the ordinary neighbors go, they do not have to be the next door. In the area where you live, for instance, let's call it Patni, in that area, people belonging to that area have some right on you. If they are suffering from hunger, it is a joint responsibility of the society. So as neighbors, everybody must put in his share to improve the quality of the life of such people who are destitute, for instance, or suffer in any way, any other way. The diseased, every person who is at some disadvantage should be helped to become a better member of the society. This is the teaching about the neighbor. And this teaching about the neighbor, as I have already expressed, mentioned in the Quran, is further emphasized by the repeated visits of the Holy Ghost to Hazrat Rasulullah, the founder of Islam. Once he told his companions that the Holy Ghost, whenever he appears to me, he so often speaks of the rights of neighbors that at times I thought that God would make a neighbor give the right to inherit the neighbor even if he is not related in blood. So the neighbors, he thought, could perhaps be the inheritors, legal inheritors of their neighbors. That is not what actually happened, but that was his way of emphasizing the importance of neighbors. The way Jibreel, we call him Jibreel, the Holy Ghost, continuously emphasized the importance of the rights of the neighbor, gave an impression to Muhammad Rasulullah that he may be included among the list of the inheritors. So there is so much about the neighborhood which I have said and which I have not said as yet. But in one of my sermons I spoke exactly on these verses, and or was it in Dars? In one of the question answer sessions, I elaborated on this question, and I assure you that if we have neglected your rights, we are answerable to you and to God. And if you stand in need of anything, of course I know you don't need anything as material help, but whenever you stand in need of anything from us, according to Islam, we are bound to provide that need. Thank you.
Hazur, next questioner is Mrs. Rahat Tahrani from Worcester Park. She is, she belongs
Mrs.
to...
is not he, is he?
Mrs. Rahat Tahrani.
You said he is.
She is. Yeah,
She's
sorry. She is from Worcester Park, and she is from Aga Khan Ismaili
right,
community.
Right. बस जरूरत नहीं अभी बता दूंगा.
Assalamu alaikum, Hazur.
Welcome, Mrs. Rahat. Yes, please.
Yes. Lately there have been a lot of reports in the media about what is termed as near-death experiences and
That's
out-of-body
right.
experiences.
Yes.
Could Hazur please elucidate about that?
Sit down. This is a subject which has been of my interest for a long, long time now, because I'm interested in extrasensory perceptions and all things related to it. I've read a lot of literature, both by those who believe in it and those who are against it. As far as Islam goes, strictly speaking, extra body experience is not only possible, it has been related repeatedly by many people, and it is not a sign of one's holiness alone. Holy people who receive revelation from God, they are more likely to have such experiences.